All right, we're going to go back to the start. We're going to sort of paint the picture of Rebekah. 4 brothers growing up in Papamoa. Is that where the competitiveness came from? You're sort of trying to compete with the bros?
Yeah, definitely. If I didn't compete with them, I would get bullied and get hit and, all over the show. So definitely growing up with 4 brothers. It was fun. It was crazy.
Are you the youngest?
Second youngest.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
And then, so grow up in New Zealand, and at the age of 10, I think your parents went over to Australia and decided they were going to move the family there. It's quite a tough age to move. You've got friends and established.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're in the sunny coast. That's where you pitched up. Was it an easy transition?
I mean, they came home from a holiday and they were like, we're moving. I was like, no. Like, I was crying. I was like, I don't want to move. And obviously, like, growing up, we would watch the All Blacks versus the Wallabies, and I hated Australia. Like, I hated them. And so they said that. I was like, what? I don't want to go there. But, yeah, moving over, like, I think we arrived in the middle of January or something, like, right in summer, and we were living close to the beach. And so I was like, go down to the beach every day. I was like, this is kind of cool. And then going to school, I think I went to a primary school for, like, a year, and then I moved to high school. At like a different kind of area. So I didn't really make that many friends in school over there, which was kind of hard, but I was always at football. So I had my football friends and they I don't know, they were the best. So I had that side of it, and yeah, school was
At what
good.
stage do you jump into the QAS, the Queensland Academy of Sport? How old are you at that point?
I think I was 14 or 15. And that took up majority of my time. Like, I would go to school, and then I think I would leave early, go home, make dinner, pack it. Dad would come pick me up because we had to drive an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours with the traffic to get there every night of the week.
Jeez.
Yeah. So that was crazy, but I loved it.
And is at that point you think, I could actually make a career out of football at kind of age 14, 15?
I don't think I did realise it then. I think it was when I was in the under-17 Australian team. I was like, oh, there's actually a career in this. Obviously, times have changed a lot since then. But to see that then, like, it was pretty cool. I was like, this is great. Then I finished school and I was like, do I go to uni? Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. So I enrolled and I was going to do sport and industry, I think. So I rock up, I go there for 2 days, and I'm sitting in this lecture room. I'm trying to write these notes, but then I miss what they've said, and then I've written half the notes. I walked out. I was like, this is not for me. I left. I was like, nah, I quit. And I was like, let's do football. So I was like, yeah. That's funny.
Because you're not just representing the under-17s and under-19s in Australia. You're captain of the country at that stage as well, aren't you? Have you risen to leadership positions in those age group teams?
I think for one of the tournaments I was like co-captain with one of the others or something. So yeah, that was really cool.
Did you have where was women's football at that time when you were 15, 16, sort of thinking about maybe a path? Like, do you remember who your role models? Did you have strong female role models in the game at that point?
I think Rapinoe. I remember her, and then obviously Marta. Marta was my favorite player.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is cool. Actually, tell you a story. When I was in primary school in New Zealand, I had to do a speech, and it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember I made my speech on being a women's footballer. I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to play for China or the USA because they're the best teams in the world. Well, it doesn't work like that. But, I mean, obviously I had that dream since I was a child, and then to actually realize that it is a reality, it was pretty cool.
So you represent Australia under 17, under 19 level, but then you don't play full national team for them?
No.
What did you not see a pathway, or how did you end up at the Ferns?
I was playing at Melbourne Victory then, and so was Jodie Taylor.
At that stage, Jodie was in a relationship with a Football Fern.
Yes.
And that Football Fern suggested that you get in contact with Tony Reddings.
Yes.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That works. So I came over here for a trial with my dad. I think we were here for maybe 3 days, and then we went to the Mount because we got family there and it was nice. Yeah, so 3 days of training, and I did all right. Like, did my usual thing and just chilled. And then I got back to Australia, and Tony was like, "Oh yeah, like we want you to come over and live here and train with us, and maybe come on tours with us." And so at that stage, I was like, "Damn, I need to make a decision." And I think that was early 2012, and obviously the Olympics were coming up, London, and the Matildas hadn't qualified, and I was nowhere near in their sights. So I was like, I'm going to go to these Olympic Games. This is definitely happening. And so I moved over. I think I was 17 at the time. I can't remember. So I lived with a random family, and it was quite hard, actually. I remember I cried the first night. I was like, oh, what am I doing? But then, no, I started getting into training, got friends, and I loved it here. It was so good. Got real fit. And then I made the team to go to London. And that was so cool. It was the best.
Olympics are pretty cool, right?
Oh my gosh, the best.
About time Shay tells us his cheeseburger eating
No, I'm
competition
not going to
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Nah, he tells it every episode. Someone brings
No,
up the
but
Olympics.
Stotty's never heard it.
I haven't.
So I was with the men's. I was with the men's team that Olympic Games, and we had a couple of days. I'll try and fast track it because
Please.
I'm getting daggers from Stephen and I'm getting daggers from producer Adam because they've heard the story so many times. As you know, in the Olympic Village, the McDonald's is there.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't started playing yet, and me and Roland Jeffrey, the physio, decided we should have a cheeseburger eating competition. It got around the players. Everyone was behind it. So the full delegation basically charges into the dining hall, and then we just sit
Go
down
for it.
opposite one another like you and I are now and just go cheeseburger for cheeseburger. And then I beat him 13-12, I think it is. I can't remember. I have to listen back.
Change
Oh
it. It
my
changes
Yeah,
every
the score
time.
changes every time. But yeah, that was pre-competition, and then the Black Ferns hockey team, I think, put a complaint in their event report that the New Zealand men's football team were having a cheeseburger eating competition and didn't take their preparation seriously.
I can't believe he's told it.
But
I can't
also-
believe he's told it again.
We were in the same hotel in Newcastle at
Okay.
the end, so we played Brazil in the last game.
Yeah.
And you guys were preparing for
USA.
the USA quarterfinal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you and a few of the others may have a
Made some
Brazilian Olympic football story.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I do.
It's not my name to drop, so you go ahead and drop that
Okay.
name.
So we were having dinner, I think, and outside our dinner room was pool tables and ping pong tables, and then just happened to be Brazil was next to us in the next dining hall. So we're outside, like, playing pool and stuff, and then they kind of come out and they start playing. And I'm like, that's Marcelo. Marcelo's playing with us. I was like, what? And then we started playing sting pong. And then Neymar comes out. Alexander Pato comes out. And I'm like, I was like, what is going on? But it was so cool playing sting pong with them. I'm
What's
like,
sting pong?
okay, you know sting pong.
I know beer pong.
They weren't playing beer pong at the Olympics.
Well, I know. I don't know what sting
Okay.
pong is. I'm assuming it's similar, but what's
Table.
yeah?
Bat at that end, bat at this end, and like 5, 6 people. So one person starts here, hits it, drops it, runs to the side. That person hits it, drops it, runs to the side. So it's like a rotation.
Ah.
So the next person comes in, hits it. If you get out first, you're the one getting stung by the winner. So then if you lose, you get eliminated till it goes down to 2, and then it's like you hit it, spin around, hit it, spin around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like beer pong at all.
Not
Did
at
you
all.
know that?
Yeah, I did. Well, I was there.
Honestly, the best game.
But the stinging part you didn't explain very well. So if you lose, you've got to turn around and then they whack the ping pong at you from
right.
close range. Hence the sting.
Yeah. Neymar stung me.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a claim to fame.
Yeah.
Not the only celeb interaction on
No.
that tour?
Closing ceremony. It had just finished, and everyone was just going wild on the, I don't know, stadium floor. All the lights came on and stuff. And then I saw this massive, like, clump of people walking around someone. I was like, what? And I saw it was Russell Brand. And I was like, Russell Brand? And I'm like, I don't know, 18 at this stage, and I'm like crazy. And I go, Russell, can I have a kiss? And so he gives me a kiss on the cheek, and I'm like, woo!
I'm fascinated to understand why Russell Brand was in the middle of a whole bunch of athletes at the closing ceremony.
I think he had just like performed or something,
Right.
and he was trying to get out of there. You had to cross me first.
You're we'll get to it eventually, but you're overdue an Olympic Games performance, right? Because I think Rio 2016, you were just coming back from an injury, and then Tokyo, you were in the middle of your treatment. So Paris 2024 must be a big one on the horizon for you as well. Not putting it too far ahead of the World Cup coming up.
No, yeah, 100%. I'm looking forward to that so much. The Olympic Games is such a cool event. Like, you stay in the athletes' village. There's just so much hype around it. I love it so much. So definitely.
Do you have any other famous athlete stories or interactions from any of the Games villages?
No.
Going on a fishing expedition.
To be honest,
You never know what you're going to pull out.
Rio was a bit weird. Like, we were only there for a few days and then we were out for good. Whereas London, we got to come back and be a bit crazy.
Yeah, I think they stopped it after London. They stopped athletes
Your
coming.
fault.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, might well be, actually.